time is very, very valuable. The time that you spend on a live training, or if you are watching this later on, is time that you're not writing a policy. But the good news is I am going to give you tools here in today's training so you can write your applications quicker and be more efficient. So thank you for spending time with me here today. Our e-application platform is something that I am extremely passionate about. I love the ease of being able to quote and to do an enrollment right on the same platform. I also know as an agent the headache of having to learn every single carrier's e-app platform. So what we are trying to do here at CSG is we are making it easier than ever for you to just use one tool for your MedSup app. So no matter if you're doing a Medico application, which we're going to cover here today, if you are submitting an application for any of the other companies that we have available on our e-app platform, you'll notice that it is the same look and feel. It's the same process, the same sections. The only difference is going to be the questions and how those carriers word their health questions or their required fields. Some carriers may have different signature options. So that's the only difference, but it's going to be one easy to use platform. And it also makes it great that you can manage all of your applications in one spot. So you can see your submitted Medico apps, but you can also see your submitted Mutual of Omaha apps, your submitted Aetna apps, your Allstate apps, really managing in one centralized location. So I do have the Medicare Center CSG branded quoting tool here up on my screen. Some of you may be accessing our system through Medicare Center or still utilizing the Senior Marketing Specialist branded quoting tool. The good news is no matter what platform I am demoing it on, it's going to have the same features, just the colors will look a little bit different there for you. So how I got to here is when I was signed into my Medicare Center account. Over on the right-hand side where your name is at, you have a drop-down menu. All you have to do is click on that CSG app. It will say loading, 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 and then it will populate the Medicare Center account right here for you. So within the CSG quoting tool, we offer you the ability to quote all MedSup carriers in the market. We also have the Medicare Advantage and then your ancillary products like your final expense, your hospital indemnity, and dental. So to run a quote on this system, it's very easy. You'll just start by running your Medicare supplement quote. You'll also notice my e-applications view active. I'll get to this section here a little later on in our presentation, but the view active, this is where all of your submitted applications and all of your incomplete apps will be. So you can quickly look up an application that you started, but you may not have finished it. So we'll get to that section here in a little bit. So go ahead, start by running your Medicare supplement quote. And then many of you should know how to run a quote on the system, just entering that zip code, age, gender, tobacco status, and we have a March 1st effective date already loaded in. Happy March 1st. But I would always recommend moving that effective date forward to the effective date of the policy. That way, any future rate adjustments that may take effect for that individual would already be loaded into the system there for you. So it's going to give you a nice little message just telling you which carriers we have on our e-application platform. So there are several carriers that are available. As I mentioned, a couple of them, Mutual of Omaha, United Healthcare, Aetna, Allstate, Ascendo. Today we're going to be demoing the Medico one. There's a lot of great features in Medico's e-application platform that really make sure that you are submitting the application for the right rate. So as I mentioned, we're quoting everybody in the market when you run your Medicare supplement quotes. And then you'll see this apply now and an add to cart. So it's very important just to note that any carriers that we have on the e-application platform, you will see that apply now or the add to cart button. So we're not basing it off of who you're appointed with, it's just what's available in our system. In order to get into the application, you will have to hit that apply now or the add to cart and check out. And then you will be prompted to either enter in your national producer number or your writing number, depending on the carrier. Now, Medico's case, it is entering your Medico writing number. You'll also notice when you are quoting Medico, they do have different rating classes. So they have a preferred rating class. and they also have a standard 1 rating class, and they have a standard 2 rating class. So when you quote Medico on our system, in most states, you'll see the different rating classes. So even if you select the wrong rating class, once you get into the application, if you answer questions that don't correlate with that rating class, so if they are outside that height and weight chart for the preferred rating class, the rate would automatically update to that standard 1 or even that standard 2, depending on how they answer and enter in the data in the application. So we're always going to make sure that you have the right rate. So again, all you have to do is hit that apply now button, and then you'll be prompted to enter in your Medico writing number. Now I'm just going to switch my screen to my testing environment here. My testing environment allows me to submit an application start to finish here for you in demo. So I'm going to click on that apply now. The system automatically recognizes my Medico writing number because I have already done a Medico application in this system before. So just keep in mind, the first time you try to get into the Medico app, it will ask you for your Medico writing number. You will enter that Medico writing number, and it will just validate for you. It pings Medico system in real time. Medico tells us, yes, that agent's appointed, and then it takes you right into the application. So there may be some lag time there just because we are verifying it with Medico. So you can see here, I have the application pulled up. It automatically carried over my quote here for me on the right-hand side. We also have all of our initial documents. So if you needed a copy of the outline of coverage, the disclosures for the e-app or the guide to Medicare, you can download those there. You can also send them via email if you need to. And then as we go through this application by selecting the underwriting type, I'll then have sections populate that I have to go through and complete. Right now they're grayed out because I need to tell the system what type of underwriting type. So if I'm doing a full underwriting application, I will have health questions. I'll have a section to enter in drugs. If I'm not, I'm doing a full underwritten or a guarantee issue, I won't have those sections. So that's why they're blinked now. And then in your notifications tab here up at the upper right-hand corner, any errors in your application, it will provide you those notifications. So if you are going through underwriting and you answer yes to a declined health question or you enter in a declinable drug, the system will notify you of that. It will also notify you if you select the wrong underwriting type. So if you went through this application and you selected guarantee issue, but really it's an open enrollment situation, the system will alert you of that. So it does have safeguards in place to make sure that you are submitting the application in good working order. So I mentioned here earlier that what I like about this is it's the same process, the same look and feel for every single carrier. So although we're demoing Medico, the same look and feel. So you'll have your overview section, you'll have your sections here, you'll have your notifications. Nothing will change from the look and feel of this application. So let's go through. We're going to go through this application start to finish just so I can walk you through how you can submit it. I will walk you through the different signature options as well. So I'm going to select my underwriting type, open enrollment, and then I will select my plan eligibility. Again, it will have those safeguards in place for you in case you enter in the wrong underwriting type. Make sure you do adjust that date of birth there as well, and then you'll hit continue. Now, as you hit continue and as you go on to each section, the system is automatically going to save your application for you. That way, if you ever have to get back into the application, you can do that. So everything automatically saves for you, and I'll show you here in a little bit where you can manage all of your incomplete apps so you can quickly come back into it. So you'll see here on my sections, once I complete a section, it will have that green check mark that's telling me my section is good to go. The yellow air icon means that there's missing information that I still have to go through and complete in there. So the goal is to have all green check marks. Once you have all green check marks, you'll be able to then do your e-app. So you'll notice here on the plan type, it carried over the Plan G, because that's what I quoted. Based upon my Medicare Part A and Part B effective dates, I'm not eligible for that Plan F, so it's gone. But if I did want to change the plan type over here, I absolutely could. any changes that you make during the application that would affect the premium is going to update that premium for you. So we worked with Medico to have an open API, so all of that automatically updates for you. Anything with a red asterisk is going to be a requirement. So let's go through here and let's just submit this application, entering first name, last name, carries over the zip, city, and state. For the resident address, this does have to be a physical address validated by the United States Postal Service. So that means if you enter in a wrong address or if you spell the street name wrong, it will fail on you in the application. So we have a couple of safeguards in place to making sure that, you know, like either street, if you spell it out or if you don't spell it out, that's fine. But if you enter in an address that's not a real address or you spelled the street name wrong, it will fail your submission for you and you'll have to edit and resubmit it. So keep in mind that you have a valid United States Postal Service address in here, a physical address. If the mailing address is different, so if they have a PO box, that's where you can enter in the mailing address different. You would say yes, and then you would enter in that PO box, okay? And then it carries over the age, gender, and then you'll have to enter in that phone number. And then the email address. So you do have two ways to do an electronic signature. One is by email address, one is by text message. So if you want to use that email address for the signature, just make sure that you have a valid email address in this system. It's not required, but it would be required if you did the email signature. So then once that section is good, you can just hit that blue continue button and it will take you on to the next section. I always tell agents that the e-application is super easy to navigate because you can just hop around to different sections. So you can easily skip a section or come back to a section. A lot of times you're filling out this application and maybe you need to skip the payment section for the time being. I like that you can just hop to a different section on here and you don't have to complete it in order. So on the quoting tool, we do allow you to quote with or without household discounts, and we'll show you what that household discount percentage is. I initially quoted without the household discount, but now that I came into the application and I'm reading their definition of what their household discount is, so theirs is when the applicant lives in the same household with another person who is age 50 or older. If I answer yes to that and then enter in that individual's name, and then I hit continue, it is going to update my premium for me to the rate with the household discount. So we are updating that premium as you go through the application if anything were to change from your initial quote that you ran. So now you can see now I'm at $94.71 instead of the $100. Next section is the Medicare information section. Social Security number and Medicare claim number at this time, that is optional on here. But if you wanted to enter that in, you can. I'm going to answer yes to these questions. It does carry over the A and B effective dates from the initial first underwriting section. And then I am eligible for open enrollment. Now remember, guarantee issue and open enrollment are different situations. The guarantee issue, if that's a state-specific rule, or if they are losing coverage from another Medicare supplement plan, or if they're moving, things like that. So different reasons for that. Previous or existing coverage information. So if they did have another policy in force, you can always enter yes, and then enter in that plan information. So depending on how you answer these questions, different questions would populate for you. So we do want to make sure that you are answering them accordingly and only being prompt to enter stuff that makes sense for you. So especially if you had any other coverage like an employer group health plan or a union plan, you can type that information in here. Just for time purposes, I'm just going to put no, but I wanted to show you that. And then we can hit continue. So this is a great example of the demo that I'm going to say, okay, I got through the beginning portion of the application. Maybe I took a phone call. Maybe I got interrupted. Maybe I have to wait to get their banking information or for them to be available for signature. If I click on View Applications here at the very top, this will take me to my eApplications dashboard page. So I like to demo this during eApp demos because I know it happens to you all the time where you start an application and you have to get back into it later on. So you'll notice here I have my incomplete. My Jane Smith was another application that I did yesterday. So I'm just using the same demo name here. My status is incomplete, so it tells me that I have started the app, but I've not finished it. So maybe I was waiting for the applicant to be ready to do their signature or for their payment. All I have to do is click on that edit application and it will take me right back into my application where I left off. So now I'm back at my method of payment. So we make it really easy for you to come back into this app. So going through the method of payment, I can do automatic bank withdrawal. So that's the only option on here. I can choose my ongoing payment, whether that's annual, monthly, the requested draw date, checking or a savings account number, enter in that bank name. You can either enter in the bank name or you can use the bank routing number. Either option will work. I'll select my bank, and then my account number, and then the first name, and then the last name. Now, if the individual, it's like Jane and Bob, and they share a bank account, just put Jane's name in there. You do not put Jane and Bob, just put Jane. So just put that first name in there. The to be completed by producer section, have you personally sold any other health insurance policies? I'm going to say no to that. I verify the information in this application is correct. Yep. I have the Go Medico products. Is the insurance applied for intended to replace any medical or health coverage? If you were to say yes, you can do that. Is the interpreter needed? No. And then I can hit verify application. Once you hit verify application and you notice that you have all green check marks, you will be able to go ahead and lock an e-sign. So you do have to have all green check marks in order to do that. This review and lock gives you one last opportunity to review all of the documents. If you made any errors or need to make any corrections, you can hit that edit section to go back to that section, or you can just click on the section here on the right-hand side. Either will work. When you're ready, go ahead and click on Lock and e-sign. The next screen will take me to my disclosures for doing the electronic signature, so the consent and the disclosures. So all you have to do is scroll down. You can scroll through all of these to read them, and then hit accept, and then continue. If I hit print, that would be printing out all of the disclosures, so you have those. Once you get to the signature, you'll also have an opportunity to print all those. All right, let's get to the 3 signature options that we have available for Medico. So if you are in the same physical location, you have 3 options: applicant providing identification information, email link, or a text. If I'm not in the same physical location, I have email and text. So let's go through. If you are in the same physical location, you can use applicant providing identification information. And what you'll have to do as the agent is open up every document. So I'm going to open up the outline of coverage, the disclosures. This is where you can grab a copy of all of them. The application. So you'll notice that this is the outline of coverage for Medico. This is the consent. The actual paper application is right here, so you can see everything was done on the carrier's paper. Payment off, HIPAA, and then the receipt. So once you've opened up all the documents, you reviewed them, you've saved them, you can check mark I have received, read, and kept a copy of the above documents. You will then ask your applicant what is their mother's maiden name and what is their last 4 of their social security number. So you will have to type in their last 4 digits of their social security number, their mother's maiden name. It will carry over the city, the state, and the zip code that they're signing in. You'll check mark apply e-signature. And then for the agent signature, you have your producer agent name carries over and your producer ID carries over, your agent ID. And then you will just hit apply e-signature and then you'll hit sign application. It will then say that the application is preparing to be submitted, and then it will say that your application has been submitted. The other signature options, if you're not in the same physical location, you can use that email or the text. So I'm going to demo here for you what the email is going to be like. These are going to have the exact same screens as the text, except the text is going to a smartphone with internet, so it's going to come over as a text message. They do have to have internet on that phone to be able to open up the link to view it. I'm going to walk you through the email signature, but just keep in mind it'll be the same if you are using text. That email address carries over from the applicant information section. If you need to change this email, maybe they gave you a different email, they wanted to set somewhere else, you have to hit edit application and then change the application in the applicant information section. If you were using text signature, it will also carry over that same phone number, but this does allow you to change it, because on the application it said home phone number, and maybe their home phone number is actually a landline and they want it now their text signature to be sent to their smartphone. You can change it, but the email address you would have to go and hit edit application to change it. So it carries over your producer name and your agent ID. You'll check mark apply e-signature and then you'll hit sign application. It will then say that my application is going to be pending the applicant's signature as soon as it gets done loading here. And then it will also provide you an opportunity here to print and save the documents that I showed you in the in-person option. So this application is now pending the applicant's signature. So if I go into my e-applications here, my status is going to say producer signed. So producer signed does not mean it has been submitted. Producer signed means that you signed it as the agent, but we're still waiting for the applicant to sign it. Your applicant has a 2-hour window to sign it via email. So if it's past that 2-hour window, their verification code will not work that they received, and you will have to resend them a new email with the new verification code. So they do have that 2-hour window to go ahead and sign. As they are reviewing the application, if they notice that you made a mistake in the application, that's where you would go in and edit and fix it, and then you would have to resend them a new signature to sign. Okay, so with using the email signature option, I'm going to show you the screens here that your client would see. You are also CC'd on this email too. So this is the email that your applicant or your client will see. We'll say Medico Insurance Company, Medicare Supplement e-app verification required. Your agent sent an e-application requiring verification. It comes from a do not reply at CSG email. And then you'll notice my work email here on my account is copied in on it. So I am also seeing what they're seeing. So what the individual will do is they'll copy or write down their verification code. They'll click on verify signature. They will then be prompted to enter in that verification code and then their date of birth. This date of birth does have to match the date of birth on the application. So if they're going to verify and it's within that 2-hour window, they're entering their verification code correctly and they're saying that the date it's not accepting it, you likely entered in the wrong date of birth for them. And then you will have to go in and edit the application and then resend the signature. So it does have to match. This is just going through the consent. So they will agree to do the electronic signature. Then it will prompt them to their actual signature page. So very similar as if they were in person with you. They'll have to open up and review the following forms. Even if you did this via text, they would open up the web browser on their phone and they would have to view these documents. So outline, disclosures, guide, application, everything that I previously showed you. So I'm going to go through these a little quick. Okay, so once they open up all the documents, they will then turn green, and then they will check mark, I have received and read and kept a copy. Now, if they say I can't click on that, or it doesn't allow me to hit sign application, ask them, well, are all your lines for your documents, are they green? If they say no, they need to make sure that they open them up. They will then say they've received and read and kept a copy. They will then type in the city and the state that they are signing in. And then they will check mark apply e-signature, and then they'll hit sign application. So it's really important that your client goes through all the steps. They, one, open up the email and enter in their verification code and their date of birth. They agree to the disclosures. And then the last is their actual signature page. So there'll be 3 pages that they go through. Sometimes your client may think that when they hit agree, then they're done. So make sure they go through all the processes. It will then say thank you for submitting your Medicare supplement application with Medico. They'll also have another opportunity to open up those documents below. And then on your platform, once you refresh your e-applications panel, your status will then change to submitted. So you can see here now I have a submitted. I can view a copy of that PDF of the application, and then I do have a link out to the agent portal. So this would be the MIC website where I can then check the status of the application. So you, the agent, will have that copy. Do allow 24 hours for this application to appear on MIC. Although we do send the data to Medico in real time and it goes straight into their underwriting queue, it does take about 24 hours or an overnight update for it to appear on their portal. So just pay close attention to that. But otherwise, you will check the MIC website to check the status of the application and whether or not it has been issued. So that's the overview of the e-app. Very easy to go through and navigate. Everything saves for you as you go through each section, so you can easily come back in here. You have 3 ways in which you can do the signature: the applicant providing identification information, email, or text, and then they all save here within your e-applications panel. So with that, Sadie, can we check to see if anybody has any questions?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Anna, for that. It's really crazy how much technology is allowing to just streamline the use and streamlining the writing process. And CSG, these e-apps most definitely do help, because like you said, you just don't have to learn a bunch of different e-apps. You don't have to log into a bunch of portals just to write an app. You have this one right here. So it's awesome. Yeah, absolutely love it. Thank you so much. And even from whenever I first started working here a few years ago, one of my jobs was to go through the CSG e-app and kind of walk people through. And there's so many things that have been added, even just in, you know, the time that I've been here. So it's just really cool to see it kind of grow and, you know, more ways to use it. But we do have a question here. Jim is asking, so is there a demo or sandbox platform that agents can practice on?
That's a great question. So there's currently not a sandbox or a demo environment. However, what I tell agents is I would recommend you going in, you hitting that apply now button, you verifying your agent ID or your Medico writing number, and then get into the e-app. You can go through the same things that I did today, except don't do the signature. So maybe you hit that apply now, you validate, you get in there, you kind of play around with the different buttons. And then before you get to the signature, so once you do like the verify signature, come back in here and then delete that text. We do reach out to agents who have incomplete apps in the system just to check to see if you ran into any issues or had any questions. And a lot of the responses back from agents say, oh no, I was just testing it out. I just wanted to get in there and validate and kind of see the health questions. Or they're going through the underwriting process and they want to see what the health questions are. So just make sure that if you do that, just go ahead and hit that delete button. I will let's see here, do I have an option? We do have and I'll turn this over to Sadie, so if you need this later, we do have a PDF tutorial that walks you through all the screens. So if you want that to look at the email signature, the text signature, or the security question signature, applicant provide identification information, you can look at those screens. We also have tutorial videos out there, or you can rewatch this too if you want to see that. But if you want to get in and practice, you can, just don't do the signature.
Yes, I know that that's definitely something that we tell agents all the time. Get in there, start using all that stuff. Just, don't submit anything just to get kind of up to that point. But you can learn the bulk and kind of all the stuff that you really want to practice. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that with your login, and we definitely suggest that. While we're waiting for a couple more questions, I did write down some questions that I know our team gets a lot whenever they are asking about this, and you did answer a few. One, a lot of people ask us, how can I tell that this app is submitted and completed and good to go? And you showed that yeah, right there on the screen shows submitted, completed, love that. And then people also often ask, is this something that I will be able to view in my other portal? And I do believe that in the carrier portal, and I do believe you said that it takes a little bit, 48 hours or so maybe, to show up, but that's always good to know as well.
Yep. So with those application statuses, I have this little PDF here pulled up, so I'll review those. You may see a couple of different statuses. One is your incomplete. You'll see one that may say consented. That means you went through all of the sections and they provided consent to do the e-sign. Locked, you could be one where you locked it, but you have not gone through the signature. Producer signed, waiting the applicant's signature. You'll see green and submitted. That's what we want to see. That means it has been submitted to the carrier. And if you see a submission failure, our team is automatically alerted of any failures, and we will reach out to you immediately, letting you know that we saw this and we are investigating it. Sometimes it could mean, like I mentioned with the mailing address, the resident address, and not being valid. That has been one thing that I have seen. And maybe there's a connection issue with Medico or something happened, but we are alerted of any submission failures and we will investigate that immediately for you.
Do you think that that's normally something that is user error? Like if you get that, do you think that's something where, oh, maybe I should go back and look through this because I probably did something wrong? Or is that more of like a technology sort of like something's not working, just sit back and wait for CSG to contact you?
Most of the times it's technology. Okay. It could be something like agent error with the mailing address. It may be something weird with the underwriting, but most of the time it is a technology issue. So I would just hold tight until somebody of our team reaches out to you. And normally that is done within an hour of submission. We may send you an email 2 minutes after just saying that we're looking into it, but we should have an answer for you within the hour.
Perfect. That's great to know. Yeah, that's really good to know because you never know. And sometimes if you're sitting there with someone, you kind of freak out a little bit and like don't know what to do next. So
yeah. And in most cases we can, if it's a technology cases, we can just automatically resubmit it for you, so you don't have to do your signature again. You can always contact us too, and just give us a call, and then that way we can at least tell you that we're looking into it, or if we know the answer yet, we can provide that.
Perfect. Awesome. One question I do have, I can't remember if you went over this or not, but I know a question that we get quite often is how are the discounts calculated?
The household discounts?
Yes.
So depending on the state for Medico, they're going to have different percentages. So when you do the quote on here, you will see that household discount as being 10%. If you wanted to apply that 10% to that rate, on the left-hand side, you would click Apply Discounts, and then you can apply that household discount. Now it dropped down to $94.70. We today don't provide you what the carrier's definition of that household discount is, just because every carrier's definition is different. Some carriers, it's 18 or older, some it's 50 or older, sometimes it's a spouse has to be on a policy with that same carrier. So when you're doing the application in CSG, what we've done is we built in those safeguards for you. So I'll go into this application here and edit it. We define in the household discount section what the definition is. So let me just go through this really quickly. I gotta move effective date forward. And then if you answer the question differently than what you quoted, the system will change that rate for you.
Perfect.
Yep. That's how Medico works. This section over here on the right-hand side, you'll see household discount. And then, so we define it for you in the application.
Okay, awesome, perfect. And then I have one more question. It doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in. I'm sure that we'll get some afterwards, but one more question for you, and then we can let everyone get back to their day. But again, you might have hit on this just a little bit. So why do carriers show more than once? I know that that's something that kind of trips people up whenever they're going through like their quotes and stuff. Can be kind of confusing.
Yeah, that's a great question. So some carriers will have multiple rating classes. So a good example is Allstate on here. They have different, they have an extra discount if they're wearing a tracking device. Like I have my Apple Watch on and it tracks my steps. So I would get an extra discount for wearing a device. They also have two different discounts. So they have a roommate discount where they are living with somebody. They also have a dual discount. So if they are living with somebody and that's their spouse who also has an Allstate policy, they have an extra discount. So there's multiple times you'll see them because they have different rating classes, like the wearable discount, the roommate discount. Cigna's another one where they have two rating classes. One if they're living with somebody, and then a different one is if it's a husband and wife both have a Cigna policy. So we try to show that here. Some carriers will have multiple rating classes based upon health. So Medico, for example, they have a preferred rating class. Also, Allstate has like a preferred and preferred select. So it's within being a certain height and weight requirement. It could be that you answer no to not being on any antidepressant or being treated for that. So every carrier is a little bit different on their rating classes. Again, you'll see that preferred or standard. Sometimes you'll see the direct to consumer in here. So there are a couple of cases, not too many of them, but there are a couple that have multiple rating classes.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great to know. Well, oh, it looks like we do actually have one more. We do have one more question here. If you submit an application for the wrong discount, do you need to submit a new application, or is there a better way to get that corrected?
I would reach out to the carrier to get it corrected. I wouldn't submit another application. Normally they can make those adjustments on the back end.
Awesome. Perfect. That sounds great. Alrighty, well, we will go ahead and wrap this up, get everybody back to their day. Anna, thank you so much again for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you to have on webinars and work with you. So we will make sure to get any questions from those follow-up emails and follow-up calls after this over to you. But yes, like we said, we will give a follow-up call, follow-up email. We'll take those resources that Anna sends over, make sure to get those to you all, as well as this recording, so you can go back and watch it. But yes, thank you so much, Anna. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.